Cheers, it's been coming now. Cheers. What is going now? Broke. It's how it's broken down. Show. It's how it's going down. Joan. How the pitch is there. Won't. Wonder if they get out. Cause your brother man's out. And extended here. Brave. That it never comes. Weep. When you're getting so stay. Never go nowhere. Brave. It ain't coming here.
This is a journey into sound.
Who am I? The war with the blueprint attached in my eye. Who am I? The war who tore our town to save a life. Yeah, who am I? Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me, Mike Lepre, King Mike L. This is a surprise episode of Legit Fantasy Football brought to you by LegitPodcast.com. It is January 21st, 2023, which is 1-2-1-2023. Let's see what we can do for the math geeks. We can do 1 and 2 is 3, and you get 4. I got nothing. So it is a special New York Giants edition of Legit Fantasy Football. Don't worry, I will give you my picks. Maybe my hat will keep disappearing. But joining me, not as always, but joining me for the first time, Sean Kelly. What's up, Sean?
Good morning, afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Dude, I'm glad to have you on. I appreciate real Giants fans. It's tough to find them around New England. You know what I mean? Especially, when it became like, here's what it became, Sean. It became, first there was pink Patriot hats. That was the downfall. And then there were Patriot fans who weren't fans, but just love the fact that they got to party every single year. You think I'm right with that?
You're right on. Yeah, definitely, man. It started with the early 2000s, and think about it. Kids that were born in 2000 never knew anything but winning in New England, which was, they didn't suffer through the years that we did growing up in the or our parents did growing up in the 60s, 70s with the Boston Patriots, which were miserable, and even the 80s of the Patriots of Squish the Fish and all that stuff.
I like those Patriots, so I didn't hate them.
I agree.
I never hated the Patriots back in the day. I didn't hate the Patriots until the lizard face took over, and since then it's been very difficult. Sean, joining us via satellite, Matty G. What's up, Matt?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Doing very good, dude. We were just talking about just being a Giants fan on this day.
Yeah, very humbling 10 years. Very humbling 10 years.
It's so let me start with this. We'll go around the horn. How and why did you become a Giants fan growing up in a Patriots bred land? Go ahead, Matt.
Mine was pretty easy, probably much like Sean's. My dad was a Giants fan. During the 50s and 60s, the Patriots weren't even relevant. They weren't even, in the league in those days. So everybody in that Northeast area were pretty much predominantly were Giants fans, because that's all the area really contained. So that's where I got it from my dad, and it's kind of gone on ever since,
Sean, you? Same thing?
Yeah, pretty much, almost the exact same thing. My dad grew up Giants fan just because that was the only thing on when the Patriots were pretty bad in the 50s and 60s. So I think that they just defaulted that.
It's weird because my dad was a Steelers fan originally, and then somehow converted to the Patriots. My dad didn't care; he just liked betting. My older brother's a Dolphins fan, right? I mean that because he's born in the late 60s, so I don't know why you would be Dolphins fan. I still don't get it. I am a Giants fan because back in the day there were only 2 games on. You know what I mean? It was either the Patriots on whatever. I think back in the day, the Giants were on CBS and the Patriots were on NBC.
NBC, yeah.
Yeah.
Fox
NBC.
didn't exist back then.
Yeah, no Fox. There was no internet, no Fox.
Yep.
and the other game that was always on was the Giants. And I fell in love with the Giants the minute I saw how they played. and it's that style of play that I still love today. Just they used to hit hard. They seemed like they were hitting everybody harder. It just seemed like they were like more of the bullies on the block. All right, so that's how we became fans. Do you guys remember all four? Now we're the only team in the NFL that has one Super Bowl win in the last 4 decades. Each decade we've won a Super Bowl. Even the Patriots can't say that. So we win one, and then we go a long stretch of just, oh my God, who are these coaches and quarterbacks? So what are your memories of 86? Any memories of 86?
Oh, 86? That was probably the year I remember the most. Let's see, I was probably about 11 or 12. And they were, like you said, they were on every week. And that's when LT was in his prime, you know? I mean, it was just, you know, it was a great time to be a fan. They were, 14-2 that year or whatever it was. I mean, you got to understand, this is a team, you know, going back all these years, they have so much history, you know? I mean, they got the Duke on the ball. Homer Jones invented the spike. Arguably, we were in the best Super Bowls of all time. We arguably have the best defensive player of all time. I mean, there's just, you know, a lot of nostalgia on the team. They have a lot of history, you know? So, I'm not surprised they've been to a Super Bowl, you know? And there was nothing like, you know, watching a team dominate on defense. You know, you guys remember those teams in the 80s. They weren't you know, lighting up the scoreboard. You know, we would win, but, you know, hopefully we'd only give up 10 or 12 points, you know?
But so 86, and before I bring in one of our co-hosts, Buddy Money Thayer, who's a Dolphins fan, I'm basically dropping like I'm pissing in the soup by adding him, basically. You know what I mean? Like a Dolphins fan.
Yeah.
There he is. Buddy Money Thayer. What's up, buddy?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
Doing very good, bud.
Fantastic.
We're discussing the New York Football Giants. You're welcome.
And how they're in the playoffs. That's wonderful, Mike. I'm very happy for you guys.
So wait, Sean, 86. What I remember the most was the Gary Reasons hit on the goal line was that year. Or
that was 80.
Broncos.
That was I thought that was 85. No.
All right, I blend those two years.
Yeah, they blend together. My biggest memory of 86, well, there's a few, but one of the things is just Phil McConkey. What he brought to his energy level, you know, firing up with the towel waving in the Super Bowl, but also leading up to the Super Bowl. I just remember that, and that got me into, you know, he always excited me on the when he came out for punts. He never really, you know, what was his longest punt return? 20 yards. But that was a big deal for him.
Yeah.
Like
it
was just the energy. Yeah, he held on to the ball, and then the touchdown that he caught ricocheted off of Bavaro in the Super Bowl. You know, after he missed it by a yard on the flea flicker. And he was like, came up with his hands up thinking he was going to score. And it was like everybody wanted him to score. But
dude,
those were great times.
If you guys remember at the Civic Center, that's what I still call it, in Providence.
Oh, yeah.
They used to have that, the Special Olympics would have
Celebrity Carnival.
All right. So
LT, and I have his autograph. I got a picture with him. Yes, and Bavaro and Carl Banks.
Yeah.
But Bavaro was a different year. It
was.
One year it was Taylor and Andy Hedden.
Andy Hedden, yes.
That's who he was with.
Yeah.
But then the year they had Bavaro. So now I tell this through my uncle's eyes. Everybody's lined up to meet Bavaro, and I'm there, right? And Bavaro's not talking to anybody, right? And I'm like 6 feet tall, 120 pounds. You know what I mean? I look literally like a stick wearing a jacket. I get over to Bavaro, and all my uncle sees is Bavaro look at me, put me in a headlock, and start going like this. And then he starts laughing, and we take the photo. And he's like, "What did you say to him?" And I'm like, "I hope I don't make you look small." That's what I said when I got to meet Bavaro. Like, that's what a jerk I am. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, that's on me. But like, it was funny in the moment. With LT, I could barely speak. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was so just being around that dude. You were like, he might hurt somebody.
Yeah, best tight end in Giants history, bud. Best tight end in Giants history.
Oh
yeah, Bavaro. Bavaro was he played, but his mouth.
Wide as door. Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the 90s team. Buddy, we're going to 1990 now. I know time travel. Keep up.
Yeah.
So that team, what I remember is Phil Simms had it clicking and then got hurt. And then Hostetler like patchworked enough to get us over games, along with the fact that Otis Anderson, who no longer went by OJ,
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like hammering people.
Mhm.
Fresh legs on an old man just going bang. What do you guys remember about that year? Like that Super Bowl win? Because we're gonna talk about all our wins.
Oh, that year I remember easy was when they played Buffalo that time. When Sims Torres, I think it was his Achilles or his heel or something. It was I
Yeah,
don't
it was
remember
his
what
heel.
it was.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, it was his heel. I remember they played that game in Buffalo and they ended up losing that game in Buffalo. I remember wanting to play them again because at that time Buffalo they had Reed, they had Thurman Thomas. I mean, honestly,
They're
they probably
brutal.
should have. I mean, yeah, I mean they had a great. I mean, even
And
they
he
had
had a
Bruce
great
Smith,
defense. Bruce
Bennett.
Smith and
Yeah,
Cornelius
great
Bennett.
defense, great defense. And I just remember I worried about how we were going to outscore them if I never thought we would end up seeing them in the playoffs. I mean, obviously, that was San Francisco's dynasty would have been dynasty years.
Yeah, and LT
So,
stripped the ball from Roger Craig.
but
Like
yeah,
that was
that.
like
Looking back at that, I don't really realize how much of a miracle that was nowadays. You know what I mean? Looking back, no timeouts, barely 2 minutes to go, and the only thing that guy could do is fumble. Other than that, they take a knee. So what was that? 2 more carries in that game, and the guy, unbelievable. I think it was was he recovered? I think it was it Mike
Yeah.
Fox? It was some one of those
Fox
unsung
jumped
heroes.
on it.
I
Fox
think,
jumped on
but
it.
Yeah, one
no,
of
no,
those,
no.
yeah.
LT recovered it, and
Oh, did he?
Fox
Yeah,
stripped
Fox.
it.
Yeah, Fox caused it. Yeah, it was one of those unsung guys that caused it, but it fell right to LT's hands. So
Yep.
you don't realize how
Sean, what
miracle that
about
was.
what about you in 1990? That team.
So the 90 team, a couple things I remember from that was obviously the, beating San Fran in San Fran without the benefit of a touchdown. When Dave Meggett drops a touchdown in his hands thrown by Maurice Cawthon. I don't know if you remember that play earlier in the game.
Yeah.
Halfback option, which was a great call. But also the fact that I went to I don't know if you guys went to the game, the last game of the year, in Foxborough against the Patriots, where they had to win to wrap up, I think the number 1 seed, and it was a rainy, wet day. And I think we won like 13-3. Horribly played game. It just, and Hostetler did enough to win, but once like you said, Mike, Phil had the team doing great, but I think we just caught fire, and our defense carried us a lot in that game. Well, that's the end of the season, I think, but that's the
definitely
two
one of our
things.
more overachieving teams.
Yeah, for sure.
So the biggest memory I have about that one is the Giants at one point were 14-0, and so was San Fran, and they met on
Monday night.
Monday.
They were both 10-0, Mike.
Okay.
Monday Night Football, they were 10-0.
I'm sorry, 10-0. So I was at the mayor's house with all the councilmen. Let's just say I was partaking in the feast that was laid out before me. So I'm watching it with these guys, and it's just surreal at one point because I'm rooting for the Giants, and I think they lost. I can't even remember that game.
Yeah, because they kept going on 4th down. They could have kicked field
That's what it
goals
was.
and won like 12-10 or something like that, I think is what it was.
But my fondest memory was leaving and having the mayor give me a piece of paper that was his cell phone, which was about no word of a lie.
Zach Morris phone.
In the words, and buddy, this is all allegedly. See?
Yeah.
That's how you get away with it on YouTube. Just all alleged.
Sal Mancini
story,
was talking?
not him. Could be, but not him. So he said, on your way home, if you get pulled over, you have them call me. In that moment, I'll never forget in my life. That was my Bronx Tale moment. That was like, we were like, what the really? Like that is, but you know what? Hey, it works. So listen, let's go to the next one, 07, because 07 may have been my favorite. See, I'm afraid. Here's what I'm afraid of, guys. What we went through in 07, I don't think we'll ever get anything better. Like you can't, like, in other words, I feel sad sometimes in the sense that I'll never be like that high up in sports again. Like, you can't, because we beat an undefeated team, right? That talked like they were the greatest things in sliced bread. They had Randy Moss. I would go on WEI and they would treat me like a fool. Like they bring me on to try to like insult me, and I'm going, yeah, but we're gonna win. I'm like, if we hit him at all and put any pressure on him, you guys are done. And they wouldn't listen to me. And then what? And I heard stories of people that flew their dads in from Florida, right? Spent a couple grand on tickets, bought a big screen TV because he wanted to be with his dad when the Patriots went undefeated to win the Super Bowl. I bought a T-shirt online that said, I have 2 of them, congrats, Pats, champs, winners, whatever, Patriots, Super Bowl champions. I bought them both. I love wearing them out because people go, Pats fans look at my shirt and go, that's not, oh, you're a Giants fan. Exactly, because you didn't win that Super Bowl, you stupid.
That's why Tom Brady doesn't bother me. Never will. Neither do the Patriots. They don't bother me.
So, all right, that year, Sean.
Oh man, couple things about that year. I mean, you can't. I mean, just that whole playoff run. I mean, starting with the Tampa Bay game and like that game, just like kind of put us on the map. I'm like, all right, it's the real deal. And then the Dallas upset. You know, Romo, and they were definitely one of my favorite games. I think they were the number 1 seed, if I remember correctly. Which
they were. They had the bye.
They were.
Yeah.
They had the bye week. So
Just
you know,
like the
once
Eagles.
again,
Just like the
beat exactly 6-0 and against number 1 seed since 1990, I believe, the New York Giants. Anyway, but beating them, our W. McQuarters, the interception at the end when you know the Cowboys were like gonna be supposedly in the Super Bowl, and then you know the pick against Brett Favre and Lambeau, and that game I'll never forget. With you know, Plaxico had just a game of his life, man. I mean, the guy caught everything.
Oh, yeah.
And we had such a running, you know, a balanced attack with the running game, you know, with Plax, and Eli was just dude, and the defensive front line. I mean, it was just a great
So,
game.
Matt, let me ask you this: do you remember how we were disrespected before every playoff game? Rondé Barber had to say something about the fact that Eli can't throw the ball. He be had. The next game, the Cowboys, Jerry Jones put a ticket on every. Like they kept feeding us. You don't feed a young team that's starting to get going, and that's what they did.
Yeah, you know, one of my favorite. The one thing that sticks out from that I remember was Bradshaw's run at Buffalo when he went like 40 or 50 yards, and you know he's one of my favorite all time. Sure. You know, it was definitely, you know, the guy would play through anything. He's a tough runner. I think something you learned this year too is, you know, obviously we know being Giants fans is the offensive line really matters. You know, this team for 5 years was awful. You know, on both sides of the ball, honestly, offensive line and defensive line. You know, everybody would ask me, "Oh, do you like Danny? Do you like Danny Dimes? It's like, how the heck can you tell? The guy's running for his life. You know, I mean, if you could put, you know, Wyatt Tittle or anybody back there, you know, if you're running around, I mean, how can you really evaluate a guy if he's running or he's running for his life half the time? You know, so I remember Bradshaw being one of the things. The thing I remember most about the Super Bowl, I have a great shirt too. It's like an 18 wins and 1 giant loss T-shirt that people love to see.
Yeah, I get that shirt.
Yeah. The one thing that sticks out for me that game was, you know, the arrogance of, I think New England was the biggest thing for me. I think the play that really did it was they were at, I think, the 36 or 37 yard line, and Strahan had just sacked Brady, and it was like 4th and 6 or 4th or 7 or something. And they tried to throw like a 40 yard down pass or something.
That was the dumbest call of Belichick's life.
I was like, this, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I mean, they had that front four, and like that still stands true today. You know, if you have a front four, you don't have, you can drop 7, 6, 7, 8 guys back. I mean, it's gonna, you know, cover up a lot of holes for you if you don't have a good secondary, and you know that's what we're gonna have today. I think
we're gonna get to them in a.
One other thing about that, talking about arrogance, remember prior to the Super Bowl when I think somebody asked Plax what the score was going to be, and he predicted like 21-17, and they laughed, and they were like, "We're only going to put up 17, haha!" Like Brady laughed at it, and they put up less. They only scored what, 14?
Yeah, he scoffed the fact like the Giants
going to hold them to that.
Points.
And they scored the opening drive, but that they had the ball. So I mean, they really didn't score for the next 3 quarters.
Correct.
The thing about Bradshaw and Jacobs was that they, buddy, do you remember Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs from the Giants when they
Yeah.
All right. What made them great was that they literally shared carries. And if you watch them, I watched the YouTube thing they did where they sit down and they talked about it. They played the hot hand. If one guy was doing well, the other guy wouldn't let him come out. He'd be like, no, you keep like. So you had 2 guys that were so unselfish, and they both were punishing runners. Where people think Bradshaw was like this speedy running back, they're wrong. He had a shake to him, but he hit people just like Jacobs did. So we would pound linebackers to the point where they didn't want to keep tackling these sons of bitches. All right. So then 2012, it was deja vu the whole way through, and I'm rhyming, the whole way through the playoffs. Like, it reminded me of 07. I can tell you that right off the bat. I say 12. It was just like 07. It was the way they caught fire, the way defense was starting the way it's right now, the way the defense
Yeah.
is starting to make quarterbacks scared.
Well, everybody's healthy. Finally healthy.
Hmm.
But I mean, like back in 012, right? That's what I remember.
Yeah.
I remember getting to that Super Bowl, and I still thought, like, are we gonna win? I don't know. But didn't you feel a little confident?
I
Sean,
felt more
when you were
confident in
in that
2012, like because they were on fire. I was not scared of the Patriots in 12 as we were in 07. It was a different team. I think the Giants were, like you said, their defense caught fire. Their offense was coming together. They had the great wide receiver, trio that they had in 2011, 12
Team Knicks.
season. Knicks, oh man, I wish he had stayed healthy. Like he was a great Giant.
Could have been
Victor
great.
Cruz could have been great. Victor's first.
Yeah, he fell. I don't know what happened to him. I really
I
don't.
know. And Manningham too. I mean,
Yeah.
that three-headed, monster. And even you forget about the tight end that they had. He Jake Ballard. Remember
Ballard, yeah.
his ACL. He tore it in the Super Bowl. But I mean, they had and they still had the running backs of Jacobs and Bradshaw. Jacobs was a little long in the tooth then, but still was a punishing runner. That team, it came down to the defense. I think that caught fire at the right time. And I see a lot of similarities between the team that we're seeing tonight and those last two Giants teams, Super Bowl winning.
The Giants always seem to get this generic white guy tight end who doesn't possess like a lot of skill.
I love this guy they got now.
But he gets like 25 yards, 30 yards for us, makes one big play, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just add a name. You could go back, boss.
Mayor Pasco. They're interchangeable.
Yeah.
It's true. We've never had like, and then the one we had that was athletic couldn't catch a friggin' ball till he got to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Who, Adrian Robinson, the JPP at tight end? Is that what you're talking about?
No, Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram.
Oh, please.
He couldn't catch a ball in New York. Not a ball.
Yeah, now it's
now,
like he's pro in Jacksonville, right? Yeah.
Yeah, now he's a fantasy football stud in Jacksonville.
Oh, 4.3 speed. That's all we heard every single year.
He's not a tight end. He's a receiver. He's not.
They should have made him a big wide receiver.
Exactly.
That's what they should.
He couldn't stay on the field. I hated him. All right, so that cuts to that. So then let's start with other Giant topics. Nate Sudfeld. Guys, the Eagles under the coach that now coaches Jacksonville, whose name I will not ever say, from that armpit of a city and league team, Philadelphia. There's actually the statue that they chose to put outside of Philadelphia is of him, Doug Peterson, and I don't even want to say, I don't want to say Foles' his name, but it's Foles and Peterson, right? It's not Donovan McNabb. You don't see Reggie White out there. You don't see what's the other guy that passed away? They should have put up Gilbert. I forget.
Brown.
Yeah, Donovan. You don't see like a bot. You don't see anybody that makes sense. I'm sorry, from the Eagles, you don't see anybody that makes sense, right? You see Doug Peterson and Nick Foles. They're such a horrible organization that they chose to put those two guys as statues. The whole city's horrible because their main attraction is a sports guy, which I love, but he's not real. You know what I mean? No Joe Frazier, but they got Rocky Balboa. I hate you, Philly. Just letting you know before we go any further. So the guys, you remember when they threw the game so the Cowboys could get in the playoffs and not us? Remember they put in Nate Sudfeld? They took out Jalen Hurts, and in comes this white guy with Mickey Mouse hands for gloves. If you guys remember this, right? His gloves were so big that I swear to you on my dad, I said to my son, those gloves are too big. How's he going to handle the ball? I swear to God. On the first snap, he fumbled it. He had Mickey Mouse gloves on. Even Jalen Hurts was on the sidelines like, why am I not playing? Philadelphia threw that game, right? Kept us out of the playoffs, got Dallas in. Cut to the next year's draft, and the other team does a favor for the other team and screws us over again. Philly wants to get Devonta Smith in front of us. Dallas is there. They make the switch with that Philly. Payback for losing the game the year before. Don't tell me it's not connected because it is. It's a payback for how they ripped us twice. Sean, what are your thoughts on my wild theory on that?
I mean, it sounds pretty spot on. I don't know if they're, I had no idea about the statue in Philly. I've never been to a Philly game, never been to that stadium. I heard it's a horrible stadium, and I
Yeah, it's Peterson and Nick Foles.
Really?
It's all about that play that they called the Philly,
Philly special.
That's what they chose. These dumb idiots.
No, that's crazy.
They don't have
you know.
anything else, Mike. What else they got?
Yeah,
Steve
exactly.
Van Buren. They ain't got nothing else.
I would put like Reggie, like I said, Reggie White. I
Reggie
put maybe you could put a
Yeah, if you're
Randall
gonna put a
Cunningham,
statue, yeah.
something like that. I don't know. Come on, this Mike Quick. I'd put Mike Quick up before I would put those guys. I swear to God, he's the number 2 receiver all time. Put him up.
Put Wilbert
All right.
Montgomery up there. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Philly's a horrible place. And so what I want to end this with was, so my older brother was a Dolphins fan like Mike. I became a Giants fan. My younger brother is an Eagles fan.
Oh,
Now you want to know why he's an Eagles fan?
Probably because he's going against you like my brother's a Cowboy fan, I'm assuming.
There it is.
That's how I got
tell him to
mine.
this day,
That's how I
I
think
tell
I
him
got
to this day,
mine.
you're not really an Eagles fan, dude. You're not. You went with whatever team was like the enemy of my team. You know what I mean? And you screwed yourself because you got one Super Bowl and a bunch of years of promise, but you don't ever really pull it off in big moments. Donovan McNabb could throw a 60-yard pass like on a dime. But have him try to throw it to the flat to a running back, and it's in the ground. Same thing with Randall. Same thing with all these quarterbacks. Oh, they're so talented, but have them just make a nice soft throw and it goes right in the ground. They throw it short. I hate the Eagles, guys. I really, God's honest, hate the Eagles.
so who do you hate more, the Eagles or the Cowboys?
All right, so here's the thing. Everyone hates the Cowboys.
Most hated eagle. You got to have a most hated eagle.
So here's how I feel about it, though. Everybody hates the Cowboys, so I don't have to promote hating Cowboys. I mean, I hate the Cowboys, but it's not like I have to get behind it as much. The commies don't even matter, and I call them that because they're so stupid for going with the name Commanders. First off, I would have stood with the Washington football team, but secondly, the one I would have went with was the Hogs. How the frig do you not name them the Washington Hogs? Where's the history? What are you talking about? And then you call them the Commanders. And within 20 seconds on Twitter and everything, it's commies. That's it. You're stuck with it. Now that's what the handle is. They're a horrible organization. I don't even hate them. I pity that organization.
As long as that guy owns the team, we'll only have a 3-team division. So
Yeah, exactly.
He's too busy out going to strip malls, allegedly, along with Robert Kraft, allegedly. And probably Deshaun Watson, allegedly. So wait. So all right. Let's ask this question. You guys remember when Kevin Gilbride was our offensive coordinator?
Oh yeah.
All right. Now I have never hated, because we're speaking about hate. I've never hated one Giant coach more in my life than I hated Kevin Gilbride. I used to scream.
Wow.
At TV
He
with
beat
Kevin
Ray
Gilbride.
Hanley.
I know.
Yeesh.
What's that? Yeah. Well, let me
He
tell you
beats
why.
Ray Hanley?
But let me explain why. Though. One second. Hanley was awful. But listen, it's 3rd and long. Say it's 3rd and 15. They lost yards.
Yeah.
What play call does Kevin Gilbride call every?
I don't know if it's Joe
time?
Judge. He called the QB sneak though.
No. What was? Think about it for a second. If you remember
It was
Gilbride,
either a screen or a draw play.
draw.
No, draw play.
It was a draw play. Dude, go back and watch the Kevin Gilbride films. If it's 3rd and long, he would just give up and run a draw play. It made me want to. I'm so glad that Buddy Ryan punched him.
That was a great moment.
It was a great moment in time and in
That was
history. I was so happy Buddy went over and slugged him because Buddy Ryan should have slugged him. And Kevin Gilbride. All right, Sean, which coach bothered you the most? There's so many we've got.
There's quite a few. I mean, I gotta give it up to Matt and say Hanley. I was like, what were they thinking? How did they mess it up? We could have had Bill Belichick as taking over for Parcells. Just the way that it was handled, and even the whole mix up with Tom Coughlin. How do you let him go and replace him with the
Earn the right to
revolving
stay
door?
forever. Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what happened was that Parcells split was not a good split.
No.
So they wanted to get away from the Parcells tree, and that tree involves Belichick. It involves Coughlin. That's why they made the dumbest move of going with someone that was already on the roster in Hanley. That guy had no idea. He was like, what's his name from the Colts? No idea
Jeff
what
Saturday?
he's doing. Yeah, no idea. He's going by hunches. All he's doing is going by hunches. He doesn't know what he's doing, and I can't blame him. All of a sudden, I'm coach. Like, whatever. So, but I
But
didn't
then
like.
who was the coach who benched Eli for Geno Smith?
There it
Who
is.
was
There, that's the guy. I'm
Yeah,
but at the
McAdoo.
end.
He's a
McAdoo.
close number 2. He's a
Yeah.
close
All right.
number 2.
So first off, that's why I keep talking about him. I don't know why. I'm having a happy mood, but that's why I hate Geno Smith. Like,
Oh, yeah.
let me put myself in Geno Smith's position. Tell me if I'm wrong. The coach comes up to me and he says, "You're going to start today, and I'm going to bench Eli." I would go, isn't he on course to break the all-time Ironman record of starting games and be a Hall of Famer? The coach would probably go, well, yeah. And I would go, I'm not playing. I'm not going to be the guy that goes in and starts the one game that Eli Manning doesn't start. And have a footnote for the rest of time. Eli Manning, dude, the greatest thing about Eli Manning was that every time you showed up to the huddle or to start a game, the mother was there. He was there. People take that for granted, but having a quarterback who's going to be there for every game for 10 years.
I mean, not even that, Mike. I mean, the beating that he took in San Francisco in 2012 in that
Best
championship
game he's ever played. Best game he's ever played, hands down.
And the best thing about him is he could be 0 for 17 with 5 interceptions. You know,
Didn't care.
on the road, doesn't matter. You know, if he's only down to score, he doesn't care that he threw 6 picks. He doesn't care that he's having a horrible game. You know, he did it. I mean, it was his time. You know, he was a great 2-minute quarterback. You know what I mean? It really was.
So Sean, remember how they talked about him though right before that Super Bowl year? How he was a bust, how he was this, he was that. The Giants were this, they were that. Like, I hate to do it, but I'm gonna do it. There's such a similarity to Daniel Jones. Like, they're doing him dirty like they did Eli, and now he's doing a run, hopefully like Eli did. What do you see the comparison? The way
I
just
can
the way the
completely
guys
see
are
the
too.
comparison. I think to what Matt's point was earlier, with he didn't have an offensive line. Now he's got an All-Pro on the left side. He's got a up and coming right guard that hopefully.
How great has that been? Oof,
I mean,
Andrew
yeah,
Thomas. Oof.
exactly. Oh
Yeah,
man, to make up for the other guy that they drafted. I don't even want to say his name. I can't remember. He went to
Neal?
Jacksonville. No. The guy that the left tackle.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. He ended up becoming like a really good guard on the Tommy.
Oh, Flowers.
No, I don't
Flowers.
want to say his name. I know Flowers' name.
Yeah,
Certain
yeah.
people I don't repeat their name because that guy was oh my God, he was a siphon.
Well, I mean, that was back-to-back top 10 busts. That was him and Eli Apple busted back-to-back years. You know, that'll kill you. You know?
But I think I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I'm going to say Gettleman made some
Worst
really
GM in
great
history.
moves that people forget, but made so many horrible ones.
Mhm.
That's what it really was hit or miss with that guy, and there was way more misses. But there were a couple that were great.
Yeah. See, my biggest thing with him is, he could have got a lot more draft assets running his way up the last couple of years. He could have traded. The Giants were a bottom feeder team, winning 3 or 4 games, had a bunch of guys in expiring contracts. They knew they weren't going to bring back. There was interest in Jabril Peppers was one I know. Even when going back to Landon Collins, they could have traded him instead of letting him walk. Evan Ingram is another example this year. Instead of letting him walk, they could have got something for him. 2 years ago, people were offered a 2nd-round pick for him. I mean, for a team right now that needs as many picks as possible, we're desperate for a receiver. Those couple extra picks, I wouldn't mind trading for DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, that's somebody that, we need something like that. There's nobody on the free agent market for receivers, and Barkley's 26, 27, Jones is 26, 27. I mean, you need a guy that come in to make an impact now. You can't say, this guy's going to be good in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, but there's 1 or 2 receivers I would trade up for. I really would. There's 1 or 2 guys coming out that are going to be good. Every year, rookie.
There's a couple.
Happening in the NBA now too. I play fantasy basketball. They're ready to go day one. Some of them. It's just like it's become crazy with that. Yeah. But wait, the worst move I think Gettleman ever made, Sean, and tell me if I'm wrong. Michael Parsons on board. We trade back to get a project in Kadarius Toney and let the Cowboys take Michael Parsons. That was the worst move by Gettleman in my opinion.
Well, and that's the same year that we had just spent all the money on Kenny
Galladay.
Galladay, $75 million.
So you get another receiver.
Why did it made no sense to me? And when was the last time we drafted a linebacker? I can't remember the last linebacker. we
In the
drafted.
first round, Carl Banks, 1984.
There we go.
That's the last
And we
time
had
the
the
Giants took a
option of
linebacker in
getting
the first
Micah Parsons,
Yeah.
and we trade and get Kadarius Toney. I was like, what is this all about?
That was the one time he traded down, and that's what he does. The one
I know.
time he traded down during his tenure, and that's what he does.
It made no sense.
It-
I agree. That
Yeah,
was
but-
definitely the worst move. And now, and what do we
As
get for
bad as he
Tony?
was, as bad as he was with that stuff, he was much worse on the free agent market. You know, Patrick Omame signed for $15 million. The guy didn't even make it through 6 games. You know, I remember 2 years ago. You know, he's sitting in there in training camp. He's like, you know, they get rid of him. They bring in 3 new starters a week before the season. You know, I mean, the guy was, you know, all he did was talking about rebuilding the offensive line, and he just didn't have a clue on how to do it or the people to get there. You know, luckily he got Gates, who was an undrafted free agent that turned out to be a pretty solid center. You know, I think Evan Neal will be fine now that they got, you know, anybody that can start at Alabama for 4 years is going to be all right in my book. You know, he just needs to get used to it, just like Thomas, you know. I mean, they'll be okay. They got about $15 million in cap space. Get one more guy next year, you know.
You were the
I
third
think
biggest cap space, don't we?
Yeah, $50 million. That's not even counting Wayman Galladay. So we'll get up there. I mean, we'll pay Jones and Barkley, but, you know, they'll have some money to get, like, somebody, you know.
Mhm.
But check this. So Evan Neal is not 100% correct. Like, he's a rookie.
Yeah,
and he's
right.
making
Yeah.
bad moves.
Yeah,
And
he learned.
you watch on slow motion how Andrew Thomas comes out of his stance and how Evan Neal does. And Andrew Thomas makes the double move, like the double shuffle, in like a
Yeah.
second. And Evan Neal, and I really believe that it's because he played left tackle so long, that when his feet come out, they come together sometimes. Like they touch. And you know, in basketball, you're supposed to shuffle and never let your feet touch.
Yeah.
That's basically
across
what
the leg.
defensive, that's what tackles do. They gotta get out there to block the edge.
Yeah.
And Evan Neal like touches feet sometimes. He's like off balance. And when you're like that, someone bull rushes you, you're done. There's no base. So
Yeah.
he makes some plays where he gets the base, and when he gets you, well, you're
It's
gone.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
gone.
big, yeah,
This
big,
is-
yeah, he's a big guy.
Tonight's going to be a test because this Philly
get
front
killed.
4, man,
Oh, yeah.
70 sacks, man. They're a
Biggest, one of the
beast
biggest
front
keys of
four.
the game. Yeah,
They abused
absolutely.
him last game.
Yeah.
They abused
they
Evan
did.
Neal. That was the worst game of his career. Now, all right, so I love Andrew Thomas. You know, they talked all, he's not good the first year, but now look at him, right? And the thing I heard with Evan Neal is he does have like an ankle injury, a knee injury. So
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe that
yeah.
just linemen get
Yeah.
beat up. We did pretty well though with Feliciano on the cheap because the dude
Yeah.
plays angry. He sticks up for his teammates. You
And he
need
plays
that
a
guy
couple-
on the line, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts about the other two? Because I'm not a big fan of what's his name?
Lewinsky.
Lewinsky
Lewinsky.
is off
He's
and on,
serviceable.
but he's
Yeah,
off
he's
and on. He has
serviceable.
great games, and then he doesn't.
Yeah. He's terrible against the pass sometimes. But the other guy, you know, we dodged the bullet, but what's his face got hurt. That Lemieux, he was awful. He won't
Shane
be on
Lemieux?
the team.
Yeah, he was-
he's awful. That left.
He was getting blown
He's
up.
awful. You know, it was a blessing in disguise that he got hurt. And then he played that one week. He got like a 0 rating. He's awful. Just an awful, you know. That's who we were starting, though. You know,
And
that's who we were
Gates?
starting for years.
And Gates,
Gates, yeah, he's
I'm not.
Gates
not a
and
huge
Breverton
fan
are
of
kind
Gates.
of flip flopping now.
Yeah, not a huge
I
fan
feel
of
like
Gates.
Gates. Oh, I like him. I love him as a center. I love Gates.
Yo, all right. He's great for the team, and he's probably good for
Yeah.
the locker room for this run. But
Yeah.
technically, I would rather have a center who's a real center snapping the ball.
Yeah.
But that's just all I guess I'm saying with Gates. He's a great guy, has a great story, comeback story. Like I guess that's what it is.
Little Rich Seibert, is that what you're saying there? Little
Yeah,
Rich
you need like
Seibert?
a, like a legit center down there. Now we got 2 tackles. Well, we get 2 guards from North Carolina. We got the one that played
Yeah.
for us, started for a while. I keep forgetting his name.
I think it's Zendu or something like that.
Yeah,
He's-
Izunu.
yeah.
Izunu.
Or if that's the guy that got hurt, I'm not sure. One of the two got hurt.
And then the other one we got later in the round, and he's a monster. Sean, I don't know if you saw the second
Yeah,
North Carolina guy. He's like,
Yeah, McKetton or something like that. He tore his ACL in camp. He never played. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've
so
seen him.
we will have them back next year, which is crazy because those guys, they're going to get better, those kids. Like, that's what's hopefully going to happen. But
Yeah.
so now in the draft, right? If we keep Daniel, we keep Saquon, we keep the basic core of the team, all the guys. The first 3 rounds, what positions would you go and in what order? For because me personally, in the first round, I want a wide receiver. They need to take a top off everything. They need that big number one. We do not have a number one guy. We need that guy to come in.
No, they're all the same size. All guys are all interchangeable. They're all midgets.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, Wandale, Shepard, they're all little guys. You know,
But Wandale's gonna. All right, so I have it.
No, he'll be good. No, he'll definitely be good.
But dude, we've been doing this show. So this fantasy football show has been going on for about almost 3 years, and I've hyped up Wandale Robinson for so long because I really think, and I said it, he was the best receiver on the team when he was healthy. He
without a
is.
doubt. Yeah.
He is the guy. The fact that we're getting him back next year, people are sleeping on that. They're not even paying attention to that because he's a great slot. I mean, come on. That's why we need that number one. Sean, don't we need that? Just that guy that's.
I think that's what they're hoping for with Galladay, but that just obviously was a mess. So we need that type of receiver, a big guy who can stretch a field, 6'2" plus, can stretch the field, go up and get a ball. Yeah, we need Plax or Hakeem Nicks. Those are the guys. Like we got the slot guy. We had Shep. Now we have Wandale Robinson's going to come in and take that role next year, hopefully. I mean, but think about the two Super Bowls that with Eli won. I mean,
he started on Plax. Makes me sick.
I can see Hodgkins making the team next year.
Oh yeah, he's gonna make the team. I think.
He'll make the team after last week.
He should.
Not Richie James, who every time he has the ball, I'm yelling.
He's gonna fumble. Don't fumble. Exactly.
I yell at the TV because I have to.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, speaking about Richie James, got to give Steve Slayton a little bit of credit here too, because this is a guy who came out of camp, and honestly, if all those guys were healthy, he probably doesn't even make the team. I mean, he's arguably the number 5 or 6 guy in this roster. He probably doesn't make the team. He's behind Galladay. He's behind Wandale Robinson. He's behind Shepard. He's behind everybody. Slayton's behind everybody.
But Darius Slayton, guy who's arguably drops.
Yeah. He's also arguably our best receiver.
Yep.
Who else have you seen him throw deep to? Nobody.
No one.
Because they can't. They don't have any speed. They don't have anybody to scare you down the field.
So
that's the problem.
So this offensive line has to control Philly's defensive line. But here's where it doesn't matter in a sense. They don't have to handle them traditionally. If we spread things and we have that option of Daniel may go if you play man, we're going to hand it off to Saquon if you play a small zone. If you notice, they've been putting those 4 guys out there. Maybe Jihad Ward, because he's so gigantically big and scary. Like if Jihad Ward came up to me, I'd just give him my wallet. I would walk the other way. It's like the front 4 with Jihad Ward, and then everybody else is a cornerback. We were just sprinkling the field with cornerbacks. There's been like 6 of them out there at a time, literally. And that's how we've been playing defense. So on offense, we're going to spread them out with the receivers, get the running back. And I think they literally saved Daniel for the playoffs. Like they didn't go to him. They didn't lean on him to be the way he was the last couple of games. Like he's all of a sudden now, all right, I'm confident because it's up to me when I go. And it's as long as he doesn't fumble, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, listen, the line helps that too. Had 4 picks this year, and he didn't have the fumbles he had in the previous years. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that too. I mean, when they go to the draft, they need a linebacker. They need a cornerback. Yep. And they need some. They need somebody in the middle of that defense. They definitely need an impact linebacker on that second level, and they're going to need another cornerback. They have Dory Jackson's been great this year, but they don't have anybody on the.
Yeah, we're leaning on that guy, the rookie kid, Flott.
Belton or Cordell Flott. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and he's Sean. What do you think?
Big pass breakup last week. Yeah.
What's that, Mike?
What would you take in the draft?
Well, I agree with Matt. I like the receiver, linebacker, and cornerback. Those are the 3 biggest needs I think we got.
We got to fill one of them in free agency, though, right? Come on, man.
Yeah, we have to. One linebacker. With all the money we have, one will be filled. Are there any big wide receivers in free agency this year? I don't even know.
No, they're all terrible.
No, there are some linebackers though.
Nobody out there.
The Bears and Colts might be losing some linebackers. Like this, both teams are stacked with young guys that can't keep everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had a Kwity Paye signed helmet that I sold recently, and it's funny too because my nephew played on that team with Kwity.
Okay.
So he would tell stories of watching Kwity play high school football. Like it wasn't fair. Like even at that age, he was playing and destroying kids. And he's
major D1 athletes are different. Yeah,
he's just a beast. But all right, so we went through all the picks of what we'd take. All right, so the question that's been asked 7 million times, but we'll ask it here. Do you keep Daniel and Saquon? And what do you do as far as sign them, franchise tag one? What do you, Sean, go first. What are your thoughts?
I think you'd keep both based upon, I mean, Danny has played up to the expectations, I think, when they drafted him based upon, this year he's finally got a line. He's finally got, I mean, and look what he's done. I think, honestly, what it comes down to the coaching. I mean, he's had, four different offensive coordinators prior to this year, and each one of them failed him. And now he's got, a great coach. And
we better love. He loves that coach. Because he doesn't love that coach. His price tag just went up much.
And the weapons he's had. I mean, the injuries we talked about. Like at the wide receiver position, especially. Everybody's gone down. And exactly, what has he done? What's he done with the weapons he's had? You give him a good, number one receiver, and I just think that, he could be that much better. And Saquon, I don't know. I'm not. Matt would be better to answer questions about franchising because he understands that stuff a lot better than I do. So I would defer to him on what to do from a contractual standpoint. I just want them both on the team next year.
Matt, I franchise tag Saquon.
Barkley.
On a 1 year. Make sure he stays healthy. Sign Danny.
That's the biggest thing with him. The other thing is too is like exactly. But what do you pay him? You might get a little discount. You might be able to pay him just $30 million a year. You know what I mean?
Who, Danny?
Something like that, maybe 120 or something. You might not have to pay that 41, 42 like everybody else is getting.
But that's where we're stuck now.
That, which might help us out a little bit.
But that's where we're stuck now, right? We got to hope he really loves that coach. He knows that he'll only be good in that system because his price tag now is of all the best guys. Like if he wins today and he'll have amazing. He's got to give us a deal. We'll never be able to sign the guy.
Well, the other thing too is with him is it took us. How long to find a quarterback? I mean, you guys remember the '80s? I mean, after Phil Simms. I mean,
Dave
how long
Brown,
did you look for
Dave Brown, Danny Cannell.
Worst quarterback in NFL history, arguably. I used to bet against him just when he started because he was that bad. But I mean, the Dave Browns, the Kent Grahams. Kerry Collins was the first person that could throw the ball further than 30 yards for almost a decade. I mean, they were in the doldrums with the quarterbacks for years.
Kerry Collins did a rap video with Danny Cannell.
Danny Cannell, there's another giant quarterback.
They did a rap video. Video, Danny Cannell and Kerry Collins. And Kerry Collins was still with the North Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
And Danny Cannell was just made the Giants open starting quarterback. Yeah. And a line in his rap song was, "I'm DK from NY." I wanted to throw up on my just everywhere. You just no, just no.
Hey, he did beat the Broncos that year
He did the Tuma. Yes, the undefeated. Yes, he did. Yes,
but God, those guys. And then Pat Shurmur made me very upset.
Ooh, Pat Shurmur.
Yeah,
Pat Shurmur looked like he couldn't lead like somebody out of a room. Like he like seriously, he was like, and he was just as a mush. Right, like there was no excitement. He brought, and then we had Joe Judge, who was literally like, small dogs that won't stop. Dude, he got to wear a mask back when everybody was wearing masks, and you could still see him swearing the F-bomb after every single play. Like, what the hell were they looking at in Joe Judge? I mean, other than catching that, recovering that football in practice in the mud, what did he do?
Oh, yeah.
What did he do? What do you think he did? Like, he did nothing. I don't know what that was about.
I don't understand how he got that job. Like, he was a wide receiver coach under Belichick. Was that what did Belichick just say? Hey, you need to special teams coach? I think it was like probably Belichick just probably gave him the rubber stamp, said you need to hire this guy, and I think they pulled the wool over their eyes, and the Giants brass just said, yeah, all right, Belichick, put the stamp on him, let's take him. I mean, what else? How else would he have got it over some of the other coaches that were available?
I don't.
Yeah, the best thing this team could have done was this year when they went outside and said, you know what, we're not gonna bring up this guy and make him a GM. We're not gonna have Mark Ross from Point of Personnel. We're not gonna promote him. They actually went outside. They didn't bring Gettleman back, who used to be with the organization for a year. So they got a fresh start, and I think it helped them a lot too. A lot of people gave an honest opinion, like, hey, your team sucks. You got a lot of problems here. You're over the cap space. Your line sucks. you got a lot of work to do. And I think it was refreshing that they, actually brought somebody from the outside to give them a better perspective on what they had going on.
They paid attention and looked at one of the best teams and how that organization was run, and they pilfered 2 people from that organization, and they're going to replicate.
Yeah.
All right. We're about to make our picks, buddy. This is where you're going to finally come in. I appreciate you keeping your eyes open. I'm gonna run a quick 2-minute video. This video does not reflect anyone else in the room but myself, but it is, from my perspective as a Giants fan, to everyone that keeps predicting that we're going to lose and that Daniel Jones is no good and that Saquon Barkley is just, going to get hurt again. So I wrote this song. I put together this little clip. It's just it's under 2 minutes, 1 minute, 59 seconds. Here we go. Oh, fuck yourself!
Furthermore, you can all go fuck yourselves.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
Oh, fuck yourself!
Furthermore, you can all go fuck yourselves.
Sorry, guys, I had to put you through that, but
Nice.
Very well
Got a
put
lot of
together.
Slayton clips in there going deep, buddy. For the
I-
guy who was a
well-
cop. Yeah.
I agree. But I got to tell you, I get really upset with how they keep saying we don't have a chance or all this or the other. Look, let's go over it right now. The Giants look like, oddly enough, it's scary Giants of old in the sense of how they're coming together. The defensive line has Dexter Lawrence, who Buddy can tell you I've been a Sexy Dexy fan since day one. I don't know why they played him at end.
Dominated last week.
Last year they played him
Dominated.
at end. You know that, right? We played 3-4. They
Yeah.
put him at end. Now they put him right
Got
in the
rushes.
goddamn middle.
Right next to Williams.
So we got a defense with him, Williams. I don't think Aziz is playing today, which is
No, they say he's questionable, so I don't know.
man. I wish that kid could get healthy because I feel like he's on Thibodeau's level. Like his bend is sick when he gets going. Ojulari, he's healthy.
Well, yeah. He's a 10-sack guy for sure.
So then our linebackers, Sean, are basically thumpers. Just big guys that run forward. Like Micah McFadden is just I call him the white missile because all he does is just run straight. And then Jihad Ward is the one that just runs forward, and when he hits you, he goes to the camera and drops all kinds of F-bombs.
Smith has played good for him, too.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Jalen Smith.
Yeah.
That was a huge pickup for us.
He's not good in coverage, but he's pretty good at thumper, yeah.
For us. Sean, are you worried about let me ask you this. Are you worried about the Eagles offense?
I'm worried about the linebackers covering the Miles Sanders for some reason is like our Achilles heel when we play.
Well, no, it's
no, it's Boston. I'm sorry, not Miles
yeah,
Sanders.
David.
It's,
That's stupid. David,
not
I
David
hate
Boston.
David
What's his
Scott.
name? Boston Scott.
Boston
Thank
Boston
you.
Scott. Yeah,
What he
but-
does
but-
against
I
us.
hate him.
I can't stand him, but I don't understand why we can't figure
He
him
doesn't even
out.
play against anybody but us.
he
stand
kills us for whatever reason. That's the one I'm worried
Kills
about. So we got to do something about containing him. I think that I want to see what the Hurts. If I'm an Eagles guy, I'm concerned about him getting hit because his injury, I guess, is right here. And he, like, all week on practice, he's been trying to fall on his back, I've been hearing. So he doesn't want to fall on his side or his front.
Yeah.
So I think that, if we put some pressure on him and put him down to the ground,
Yeah.
you might see,
They gotta
some
hit him.
injuries. Yeah, they got to hit him. They got to hit him,
Gotta hit
and we got to
Just
limit
like they did to Justin Jefferson last week.
Exactly.
Justin
Well-
Jefferson, they did the same thing. Remind me of the Super Bowl against the Bills. Let him catch his 10-yard passes and hammer him just like they did to Andre Reed. It was like Justin Jefferson, yeah, he had all those catches, but he got pounded. He never had a catch over 10 yards. Second, he was a non-factor,
So we got to beat them up and bully them like old school Giants
Old school
football,
Giants.
right? And then on offense, Daniel's going to make the quick decision to throw the ball.
And good decisions, limit the
Right.
turnovers.
Yeah.
Because he's going to get pressure. He's not going to have like last week. Minnesota's defense is, pales in comparison next to Philly.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a challenging game. But I think I have faith.
But if they run Barkley past Barkley and Daniel runs whenever they're in man, because when they play man, there's one guy that's gonna stop Daniel Jones. And the thing about Daniel Jones is he may be
He's
the
fast enough.
fastest man alive and doesn't know it yet. He runs so fast that he can't run that fast. Like he falls.
Yeah.
So his legs go so fast that he can't run that fast. I can't explain it any other way.
Yeah.
I think he runs all day. What do you think?
The biggest thing you're talking about is he's got to come up with a decision fast. Like I thought he did a good job in Minnesota last week when he made a decision like, oh, I got to go now. You know what I mean? He had that little 1, 2, 3, and then he took off running. He's going to have to do that today too because, regardless of if they rush for or blitz him, whatever they do, that they're going to bring pressure on him. That's just, what Philly does.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
He's going to have, like you
All
said, he's going to have to make a quick
Round the
decision.
horn.
Decide he's going to run fast.
Guys, round the horn. I'm going to go through all 4 games. I'm going to give the spread. You do not have to make a pick if you don't want to. You can just pass. But if you want to make the pick, by all means. So I'm going to start off with this one. Buddy, I'm going to ask you first. The Jaguars play the early game against Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs are favored by 9.5 at home. The over-under is 52.5. Buddy, who do you like?
That's a big spread. Well, I think the Chiefs might win this. I'm going to go with the Jaguars with the spread.
All right. Matt, Sean, would either of you like to make a selection?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. I'd take the points too. I'll take the points. I'd take Jacksonville plus the 9.5.
Sean?
I'm going to stick with Kansas City. I think that, they're going to, Trevor Lawrence is going to finally get his first Saturday loss in his career.
Life.
In his life. I think Kansas City's just got too much weapons. I think they win by 14.
All right. So where I'm at is, and I posted it earlier, so it's kind of obvious. I like all 4 underdogs this weekend. And
Yes.
and I think you could put $5 down on all 4 money line.
Money lines. Yeah.
Money
Let me tell you something. I will not be surprised if the Jaguars beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs are not really. I don't think they're taking the Jaguars that serious. I can't see it like them getting super hyped. And I think the Jaguars steal that one. I think the Giants pound the Eagles. Pound the Eagles. Well, let's get to that game next. So, buddy, I'm going to go to you first. Giants playing the Eagles tonight. Eagles are favored by 8. Now, over-under is 47.5. The Eagles have beat the Giants twice this year.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts?
Jalen Hurts is playing, yeah.
Yeah, he's playing. He's playing Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
Technically, I think a bad joke, but
yeah. Mike, I've doubted you all season and your Giants, and all season your Giants have showed up and played some damn good football. So I don't know. 8 points is a big. Again, it's a big spread. So I think I'm going to take the Giants, Mike.
all right, Sean.
Go Big Blue, taking the Giants straight up to win.
Nice.
Matty?
No way they lose by 8, even if they do lose.
I don't think they lose by 8, and I think the biggest factor that I always see is this is the third time you're playing somebody. It's a divisional game. You're seeing somebody for the third time. I mean, let's be honest. You know what they want to run. You know what you want to do to them. They know what you want to do. It's just execution thing. So familiarity should come in to play a little bit. So I think they know what Philly's trying to do to them. So I think they cover the spread.
I literally think you strip these two teams right and make it an even spread, and then you think about who's peaking, who's not, where they're both going, the trajectory. And the Giants are way far trending up. Everybody's starting to click. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look, there's going to be 2 or 3 plays in the game that have to go our way. I don't know what they're going to be, but that's how we always play the Eagles.
They got to get a turn. They got to get a big turnover in my opinion. Got to get a big
happen.
Yeah. They need a punt return. So they need some kind of big play. You know, punt return, an interception, a fumble. They need something.
Somebody to step up. All right.
Yeah.
Sunday's games real quick. Cincinnati's at Buffalo. Buffalo's favored by 5.5. Buddy.
This is a tough one because it's 5.5. I think, man, I'm gonna pick Cincinnati because I think they got everything clicking right now. I'm just gonna go with Cincinnati.
I think the problem with Buffalo is how do you sustain that energy level that they have going without one game where you're drained, like that you kind of see them deflate in the second half. Like I see that coming. That's my thoughts. Who wants to go first on you guys?
I think it's Josh Allen. Whether he's made a lot of mistakes the last couple of games. If he limits his mistakes, and I'm concerned about Cincinnati's. They got 3 offensive linemen that are out.
They were bad when they were playing. Yeah,
exactly. And as good as Joe Burrow has been playing, and I think he's a great quarterback. I think Buffalo's going to take it because I think they're. I don't know if Cincinnati should have lost last week. I mean, without that fumble, they're going in to think Baltimore's going to win that game. So I think Buffalo's going to win it. I think Allen will right his wrongs. And I think it's at home, and they got the home crowd, and the injured player I think is going to probably be on the sideline. The guy that I can't remember his name.
Here's the thing though. So on this show, I throw in sometimes what I call the douchebag factor, and Joe Burrow has that. Like Joe Burrow has the douchebag factor. Like he'll wait for this game to throw 5 touchdowns and just smoke a cigar. That's why I think the game could go either way. But I'm hoping it goes this way. What do you think, Matt?
Well, the thing for me, I like Cincinnati getting the points too, only for a couple of reasons. I'm a little nervous about, obviously, Cincy's offensive line being all banged up. But the biggest thing for me that I've noticed watching Buffalo's last couple of weeks is, I really think they should have made a trade for McCaffrey. Their running game is really stagnant. They really have a hard time running the ball. I think it would have been a great, I think they were the team that really should have went out and got him. They're really struggling. They're really kind of one-dimensional. They get a little run from Allen, maybe a couple runs from, they're trying to get Cook involved now. I just think that the running game might be their Achilles heel a little bit, But
you're still going to go with
I still think they're going to, but I don't think they're going to cover.
So far,
I think Buffalo's going to win, but they're not going to cover.
All right. Last game then. The Dallas, 2 teams that I just don't even want to watch. I feel like I'm stuck in the early 90s. The Dallas Cowboys travel to the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are favored by 4. Over-under is 46.5. Now, buddy, I'm going to let you go first again. San Francisco is a complete team. That's what everyone wants to tell you.
Yeah.
No, even with Pretty as their quarterback. Now, the Cowboys looked hot last week, but we all know the Cowboys can look hot one week and then choke. So
love it.
Which way do you go with this, buddy?
I have said it all season. I think the Dallas Cowboys are like a boom or a bust team. They're either there or they're not. And against San Francisco, a team that is absolutely complete. How do you put anything on Dallas? I'm gonna pick San Francisco.
Just go -4. All right.
And I hate Dallas, so I want to see them lose to begin with.
Sean?
Only makes sense.
I'm gonna agree with Buddy. I can't root for Dallas, even though they did look great last week, but it was against a horrible Tampa defense.
Who's looked bad all year.
All year. And San Fran's offense is just clicking. I don't care if it's Brock Purdy. If you say he's a rookie,
he's starting next year too. Watch, he's going to be starting next year.
He is. Jimmy G is going to be going. Trey Lance, see you later. But anyway, I got to take San Fran. They're going to cover.
Matt?
It's at home.
I see it's kind of like similar to Buffalo. I do see San Fran winning, but maybe a field goal game or something a little bit closer. Maybe Dak throws in another league-leading interception to close the door. So that's what I'm hoping for.
You think Dallas +4?
I'll take Dallas plus the 4. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So on the show, one of the running gags is that I call myself the NFC East Whisperer because
Nice.
my rating on picking NFC East games has to be at least 80%.
Nice.
Has to be. And buddy, right? That's not a joke.
Yeah, pretty good.
At one point, guys, we were doing the USFL. I was 19-2 with USFL games. How do you do that? I didn't even know the players. So, anyways, here's what I see happening. I see all 4 of these underdogs winning. The Cowboys, I hate them. I hate them with a passion.
I do too.
But here's what's going to happen. It's meant for the Giants to travel through Philadelphia and then through Dallas. That will be the greatest ride for us. And I think that's how it's written. You know what I mean? And I think when all is said and done, we're going to end up with the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I don't know why. I just think they're going to make their way. And I want a Burrow who is, famous like Joe Namath compared to Daniel Jones, who, goes to like country western bars and jeans. Like that's what I think is going to happen. So I'm going with Dallas +4. I like Cincy +5.5. I like the Giants +8. I like Jacksonville +9.5. And like I said, if you want to be crazy, put them all on the money line. I think right now, if you bet them all on the money line to win outright for $10, you'd win $1,700. Not a bad bet, in my opinion.
At all.
Is to make it as a bomber. So, all right, guys. Thanks for joining me on this. Like, I'm glad I got to talk to some Giants fans. I had on here once. You know the guy who got famous for yelling about Daniel Jones? He was like, Daniel Jones. Well, he's got a podcast, a New York Giants podcast he does. I forget what the name of it is, but it's really big. He's like this kid. He comes on all the time, does Giant stuff, round the clock. And I got him to be on this show, and he really gets it. He's another kid who is just like, when the offensive line gets mentioned, Giants fans get like this confusion feeling, an anger feeling, and you just don't want to stop talking about it because we've talked about it for so long. We worried about it, and they kept promising us. It was like a Christmas where there was no presents every day, over and over again.
Every year.
We're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it. They could not fix it. It was the worst feeling I've ever had. Was like, listen, by week 5 for the last 4 years, I was already looking into the draft.
It was over.
That's depressing, right? But tonight, we're gonna smack the Eagles. Here's my thing. And no one wants to listen to this one. It's a beating. The Giants, they roll the Eagles, and it's gonna be strange for some people to digest. But we're gonna get up on them quick, and we're gonna hammer them. And the defense is really gonna take advantage of him. Watch to see if he runs any option plays early, does any scrambles. Because if he doesn't, he's not feeling well. And we need to hit him. If he's running Jalen Hurts, I'm going to be a little bit more worried. If he comes out running, I'm going to be a little bit more worried because then he's asking to get hit. If he starts to stay in the pocket, though, I think we're going to close. Dexter Lawrence gets up the middle, Sean. There is no pocket. Right? Like that's like the key thing lately for us. He's so fast up the middle. There's no pocket. Where are you going to go? I cannot wait to smash him. All right, buddy. Hey, buddy. I want to thank you for joining us. You had a lot to say.
I did.
Your comments about the Giants. I mean, you are a scholar and a gentleman.
It was Mike. It was interesting to hear this history from like 3 dedicated fans of the glory of the Giants that once was. That hopefully will be for you guys this year. And if not, hey, there's always next year, right?
No.
Hopefully, we're on the trend back.
The New York Football Giants will win today. Sean, any last words?
Mike.
No, thanks for having me, Mike. This was great. Love the format. Love to talk Giants history with some fellow fans and a have a Dolphin fan listen in to see what the good old days have been since, it's been 72 since you guys have had any celebration.
they're
Right
harmless.
before my time. To be
Yeah, they're
honest with you.
harmless. Dolphin fans are harmless. They're like, yeah, you can stay. Well, what do I care?
Yeah.
Matt, any last
Yeah.
words?
No. Thanks for having me on, Mike. It was a lot of- Hopefully, I see you here next week. We can do another one. Hopefully, we're talking about the Cowboys or somebody else.
You
San
know
Francisco.
what, Matt?
next week. We can extend it another week, brother.
We do legit fantasy football once a week on a Thursday.
Yeah.
And it's one of our, so we do like 6 nights of programming right now.
Okay.
What happened was we did a legit paranormal show on a Sunday with this guy. It was my Art Bell type show. I don't know if you guys remember Art Bell on the radio. Like, I was like, we got to have like an Art Bell type paranormal show. Yeah. So that turned into, now we have legit paranormal on Sunday nights. Monday, it's going to be the guys from Block Island Ghost Tour doing their paranormal show. Tuesday night, it's a legit metaphysical world where we have this Auntie Dale on who does interviews with guests that would get booked or live readings. Wednesday night is legit paranormal news. Thursday night, we do legit paranormal clips, like old clips of proof and stuff. But before that, we do football. And Friday night, the guy from Virginia does the Bigfoot one, which is really good.
That was
And
really
then
good
we have
last night.
Saturday off. And we already have this woman who does the booking for us, that gets us a guest from Netflix and shit like that for like the paranormal shows. Wants to manage, wants to be like my manager, but she charges, and I'm like, I'm not paying you anything. Like, the money's not coming out. And she's like, let's talk. I'm like, I like this lady. Like, let's talk. Let's figure it out. In other words, let's figure out a deal. If we can make something work for her, she'll help us out. And I think that's exactly what we want, right? She's a really awesome person. And I'm like,
there you go.
she's got interest in it. But Matt, if you want to come be part of, Sean, you're invited too. Legit legit fantasy football, the only sports show we do around the year, because we do cover, and we're going to do USFL, XFL. We just break it all down every week and we give our picks. It's a blast. And you guys are more than welcome to come and join a show, whatever you want to do, because I'm with 2 Dolphin fans. Like, it's beyond belief that it's him and my brother Ray, and they're 2 Dolphin fans, and they depress me, you know? I wanted to sue the Giants for like depression and stuff like that.
Oh,
because
the
they
Dolphins
made me-
fans should love us. We saved their undefeated season. While the Dolphins fans should be
Exactly.
buying us champagne.
Right.
Right.
That is true. That is
And I
true.
do.
All right, I'm gonna do the wrap up. So for Mac Grimaldi, Sean Kelly, Buddy, Money, Thade, it's me, Mike Leopard King, Mike Gell. This is Legit Fantasy Football, brought to you by legitpodcast.com. All of our shows are streamed live at the website. Our next show would be tomorrow, Sunday night, Legit Paranormal, 7:05. Go Giants.